All we know is that two former Russian gas executives and members of their families died in two separate countries within 24 hours. And now investigators are trying to understand if they're connected and figure out exactly what happened.
As Vladimir Putin's attempts to expand the Soviet Union back to its former glory and swallow up all of Ukraine continue to fail, as the world continues to draw ever crushing sanctions on the Russian economy, unfortunately, it's been found that two Russian oil executives have been found dead within their homes. Sergei Protosenya was found dead in Spain alongside his wife and daughter, and Vladislav Avayev was found dead in his home in Moscow, also with his wife and daughter. Not really looking like much of a coincidence, especially since it happened within 24 hours. It really lines up with Vladimir Putin's rather routine behavior to simply eliminate his critics, whether they be journalists, lawyers, or community organizers, and to just bulldoze his way into whatever he thinks he can do.
Coincidence or Kremlin revenge? 55-year-old Sergei Protosenya and his wife and daughter found dead in their home in Spain Tuesday. And Vladislav Avayev, a 51-year-old former VP at Gazprom Bank, and his wife and daughter found dead in their Moscow apartment Monday. Moscow police are investigating the deaths of Avayev and his family as a murder-suicide, tantamount to saying nothing suspicious here.
So let's take a trip down memory lane of some of the journalists and community organizers who were murdered for their work under the Kremlin's watch. So we got Boris Nemtsov, who was killed in 2015. He actually was a potential winner for the 2000 election, but he lost to Putin. Afterwards, he ended up organizing a lot of protests against him. He was shot 4 times. Boris Berezovsky in 2013. He turned on Putin. He was one of the bigger reasons Putin won, but he ended up turning on him because he didn't get his end of the deal, whatever that deal was. He was found dead with a noose around his neck. Stanislav Markelov and Anastasia Babarova were killed in 2009. They were human rights lawyers and journalists. Sergei Magnitsky was killed in 2009 for his work investigating a massive tax fraud. Natalia Estemirova in 2009, journalist investigating abductions and murders that were happening pretty commonplace within Chechnya. Then we got Anna Politkovskaya in 2006 for her work basically of exposing the Kremlin for turning Russia more and more into a police state. Not as though that Russia hadn't been a police state, but just really exposing Putin for the work that he had been doing. And there's a much longer list than that. But just to show that, again, the deaths of these two oil executives is rather routine under the Kremlin's watch.
Suspicious deaths of Russians overseas and at home are nothing new. Former Russian spy Alexander Litvinenko poisoned and killed in London 2006. So too in Russia. Putin critic Alexei Navalny poisoned, nearly killed with Novichok in 2020.
So we have a man, basically, who lives in a country that he rules, and he eliminates people who stand in his way. And we're looking at this attitude and this ego being displayed on the world stage right now. The fact that he is continuing to just double down, triple down on his efforts to take Ukraine in the face of all the sanctions, basically the whole world population turning their back on him, his popularity dropping from where, as low as it was already. But he doesn't care. I mean, the Kremlin's talking about nuclear war. Nuclear war is an option. And it's like, really? Really? This is just a result of ego. This is a result of what happens when you have too much power for too long, when no one can tell you no, and when you truly do believe that what you want is somehow God's will or somehow what needs to happen, because absolute power corrupts absolutely.